Hi, this is Gardner and you're watching Thorin's YouTube channel.
This video is another video in what has been a streak which I've alluded to a little bit, I've hinted sometimes on social media, that I'm on of videos. Now, people don't know, does that mean just general videos on my channel? There's always something every day. I mean, specifically, I've been maintaining and focusing on a streak of Thorin's Thoughts videos, because obviously this was the series that really launched my YouTube channel, that made me a YouTuber, that made me a video content creator outside of just occasional talk shows for other websites I'd worked for on other people's channels. And obviously I was mainly known for written content and then long form video interviews, like really long grilled reflections, etc. So to talk about this and to tell you how many videos I've done, I've got to go back in time. I've got to tell you a story about how this all happened and something that I'm mirroring, a baton that I've picked up from myself in the past 4 years ago, pretty much. So on October 7th, 2014, I made a post publicly where I told people on Facebook that that would be my last ever day working for OnGamers, a big esports site. It was one of the first super sites that had amazing backing behind it and a bunch of really talented creators, people who were pretty famous in the esports space of journalism at that point in time. And the key thing about this story is, the reason I was reporting that this was going to be my last ever day working for OnGamers is because I'd been fired from OnGamers. A day or 2 days before, I'd been called by my boss. He basically just told me without any explanation, we're firing you, like your contract's going to end at this point in time. I will say they treated me very well in terms of how they treated financially, how they ended all that stuff. That was on a very professional level. I appreciated that a lot. I tried myself, despite the fact I am someone who can be very blunt and very transparent about things. I don't really like to sort of fancy them up if it's not necessary. I decided to go as the classy route if I could, to just explain like, I'm leaving, no hard feelings with the site, etc. Because basically, this situation that got me fired was during the Season 4 World Championship for League of Legends, the one that famously was won by Samsung White in the end over Starhorn Royal Club of Uzi, who obviously will be going for his own championship this year. When we were doing this tournament, our site had been banned from Reddit the second time. And when we'd been banned from Reddit the second time, it was considered a permanent ban. We were never going to be allowed on Reddit. And Reddit accounted for, I know publicly they said 50%. I always thought the number was closer to 75%, 80%. At the time we had a much, much smaller social media following. I don't think I even had 30,000 followers on Twitter compared to I have 220,000 now or something. We had much smaller social media followings. People didn't go straight to websites at that point in time. People just went to Reddit and content aggregators, and that's where they got to content from. We didn't have a huge Facebook page as a site, and our site had only actually begun less than a year before, so we hadn't had time to build up all the social media channels. And so when we were banned the second time through the behavior of certain other people within our company, that was already quite depressing. But added to that, there were people within OnGamers who, quite frankly, I'm just going to say, I won't say who they are, but they shouldn't basically have been hired. They were people where, okay, if you had unlimited budget, if you were just hiring an ultimate dream team, yeah, you might hire these people, but even then you'd hire them towards the end of the equation. Whereas some of these people were hired pretty early on and in place of roles I really thought should have been filled, like a social media manager to build up stuff like your Facebook, Twitter. So there's other routes to be able to get publishing out there over someone like more video content people, so we could have people to help us with that stuff and make it really high level stuff and they'll do all the editing, etc. And so one of the people who'd been hired was someone where, quite frankly, when we would have these meetings, staff meetings, and we'd talk about what we were working on, so I'd say, I'm working on this long article, got a few Thorin's Thoughts. At the time I'd only launched that series, but I've got some similar basic concept like that coming forwards. Some of the other people there would be like, well, I'm going to try and do this idea, or, I was thinking about this idea, but I couldn't quite get off the ground. And so what I suggested for them was, here's an idea for you. What if we do a show every day during Worlds? And basically, we'll get different guests, whoever I can get that's available, because at the time, we'd already started Summoning Insight months and months earlier. We'd done a whole bunch of episodes, over 20, I think, maybe 24 or something. And I already had kind of developed my skill, as I had from interviewing and from the show, of booking guests. Because I've booked nearly every single guest for my interviews and for my talk shows over the years. Not usually my co-host who books them. I go out there, I pound the streets, I find the people. If they say no, I get someone else. If they say no, but they'll do it another day, I try and keep note of that and get back to them. I try and juggle it all, make it so that usually it's some players and some big names, but then I feed in there some of the smaller people in the community that I want to see get a more exposure, or I think are pretty interesting and will make for a cooler episode than maybe a big name pro player that maybe doesn't have that many interesting opinions, maybe isn't super cerebral, articulate, eloquent in how they speak, or that interesting in their thoughts. Maybe there's a very simple mind in some senses. And so we made this show where it would be a way for some of the people at this site, including this individual, to have something to do each day, to feel useful, to look to their boss as though they were doing something. Now, the flaw that I had in doing so was that I had to be part of this show. I was the one hosting the show, and I was the one who had to get up every morning. And so every single day, I would have to either stay up late to do the show or get up early to do the show, and then I'd have to watch the games themselves to be able to talk to people about what was going on in the show, but watch them live, whereas I've always preferred to store them up and then have like a whole day or two and watch loads of VODs in a row, specifically to create content out of it, like purposeful research. So now I was watching them all, and if you know anything about my career, probably my worst social media moments, probably the moments where I've said the most what would seem like ridiculous comments, but usually it's not even the comment itself. Like the gist of what you say might have some truth to it, or people might actually agree with it or say, whatever, that's your opinion. But the way you convey it is what offends people or is obnoxious. Well, most of those often have come if I worked myself too much, I didn't get enough sleep, I had poor diet, I'm doing something that I sort of want to do but don't want to do, you know, things that would naturally make your frustration level build up, or if you're already a bit off or you're in a bad mood, it's just going to amplify that. So one of the things that happened is on this day, I would assume it's like October the 5th or something, I did a tweet where, as one of my throwaway tweets as I was watching the games, I said something along the lines of like, Lucian, who's obviously an AD carry champion in League of Legends, Lucian is a retarded champion, just like Wild Turtle, obviously the AD carry of TSM, who, quite frankly, is not an intelligent player. Now, call him retarded. Obviously, it's not meant to be interpreted literally there, just as the champion is not literally retarded. You can't actually read that as a literal statement. It's metaphorical, but okay, it's certainly a mean comment. It's certainly an insulting comment. Well, Turtle's never done anything to me. That's not particularly what any of it was about, nor was it spurred by that. It's just I thought to myself, like, it's kind of bullshit that they're in that group that they're going to get out of easily because of the Svenskeren situation and the fact that they didn't get a Korean team, and then Wild Turtle could just lock in Lucian, which I'd seen him play a whole bunch of times, which I thought was a really overpowered champion at the time, didn't take as much skill to play, and quite frankly, he wasn't in his peak form at this point in time, and so it was a throwaway tweet, but for whatever reason, that was the straw that broke the camel's back. We'll never know who or why, but the incident is, that alone isn't what got me fired. Like, you can go and tweet retard now, tweet retarded in esports, many you'll get away with it. It won't be a big deal. That's one of those ones where I say, it's not really a slur like people might try to suggest certain racial things are, because it's been used so much and so ubiquitously and across all age groups that as a result, it's kind of like a gamble, but it's not that bad a gamble. You'll maybe only get in trouble, I'd say 5 to 10% of the time, maybe even less than that, quite frankly. But it'll just go by most people. So it wasn't even particularly one of my edgiest tweets or the craziest things I've said. Certainly it's not a great tweet. So there's certainly nothing like I'd want to be in like the top 10 things that people remember about my career. But the problem was that added to other incidents I'd had, being fired instead of being able to work at EMS on Katowice way back in March of that year. Coming forwards, I think, what was it, July or August, I'd had the thing where I'd compared the character of Reginald, the owner of TSM, who just blacklisted our site and a bunch of our journalists quite unfairly and putting pressure on the site and our livelihoods as a result. I compared him to the character of Caesar, the leading ape from Planet of the Apes. Now, I specifically addressed his character there. I don't care what people try to read my mind from, with a different comment I said later that in no way was specific to that. But obviously, people, we were in the beginnings of outrage culture. Funnily enough, it was actually around the time that a certain movement started within gaming and ethics and journalism. And what happened was, people took that as a racial comment. Funny enough, nowadays people don't, and I've even done an interview with Reginald and asked him, did you take it as racial? Did you think I was comparing you to a monkey and along racial lines? And he even said, no, not really. Like, I didn't think he meant that. And that's one of the reasons actually why there's never actually been beef between me and him since we connected again a couple of years later. It was actually at the end of 2016. And I began to do content with him and with TSM again, actually, because he reached out to me and he was like, there's an opportunity here. Let's work together. Let's do stuff. You're an influencer now. You've got a bigger channel now. Let's put all that shit in the past and let's go forwards. So the point is, though, all these incidents in the past probably already took away some of those like 9 lives of a cat. Because the thing is, because I was known as a talented creator and I could definitely get a lot of views, and crucially, unlike other people or on gamers, I could get a lot of views for essentially no budget. Just whatever you pay me, my salary is the budget. Like, I don't need to go to events, have a cameraman, fly anywhere. I can do everything I do online. And in fact, because of the Reddit ban, I'd really specialized in doing all my shows and interviews online as much as I could. So as a result, it didn't matter that people wanted me fired or said this is outrageous or whatever. The company was obviously going to do anything they could to keep me. And also, they knew me as a person. So they weren't perturbed by some notion that I was some kind of mad racist or anything, or that I had some kind of like disturbing underlying sentiments. They knew that wasn't the case, and that these were people going way too far with some tweets. But the problem is, when you've survived a bunch of times and your boss or whoever else has vouched for you and you've gotten through, eventually it can be a small thing that gets you wrecked, in the same way as you could have fucked up a bunch of times but just survived it, or done a big mistake but then just done good enough work, and then one day you could be late and your boss could go, you late, right? That's it, you're fired. I'm sorry, just pack up your desk, go. I'm going to have to fire. This can't work anymore. It's not really because you were late, but that's the final thing added to the collective total of what happened. Now, the reason why I bring this up is because you're going to think, how does this part of the story lead into something really awesome and what we're going to talk about now? Because here's the thing. That was probably the lowest moment of my entire esports career. Even though in the past I've walked away from companies that were later went on to be worth millions. I've left jobs that at the time were the highest paying in esports. I've severed relationships over personal issues when I was much, much younger, where me and someone else didn't get along. And as a result, I stopped working at certain big sites and I had to go right back to the bottom, start again, build a presence on another site, go to a smaller site, work my way up again, leave esports entirely for a brief period of time, even though I was still always doing some work and guides, etc. Find my way back, climb the ladder again. Despite all of that, this was the lowest moment. And crucially, it's because of the context. Because at the time, working for On Gamers was my dream job. This was the best job I could possibly imagine within the esports space. Because I've always wanted to do esports journalism for as long as I've done it. I wanted to be a coach or a fucking commentator or work at a big tournament organizer or work for a game developer or balance a game or design champions, etc. I wanted to be someone who was a journalist and did it my way, my kind of journalism. And so losing this job, well, in theory, this was the best job I thought was even possible in terms of you had a good salary in the real world. In fact, I'd looked it up, and the salary I was on for my age was actually where the average top professional journalist who was the same age in the UK, was on the same salary. So somehow, after years on minimum wage, having what we consider a really shitty, like, loser nerd job, I'd suddenly caught up and I was where all my peer group would be who was succeeding. I thought, wow, this is amazing. And I'm doing it all, doing esports content the way I want online. I was working for a big company. Remember, this is a company, this site that was owned by CBS. It was owned by CBSI as the parent company, which leads into CBS. Massive network within America, obviously television, media, etc. This seemed like the absolute zenith of the esports industry and what was possible for my career. I didn't have to do anything that I didn't want to do at the site. I didn't have to do any editing of other people's work, news posting, data entry, any of these kinds of grunts work that years before, at every other site, I'd had to do either to some degree or in a number of cases, mostly in order to carve out a little bit of time in a day or a week where I could do some of the stuff I wanted to. Now it was the other way around. I did all the things I wanted to. And in fact, at this site, I didn't have to do anything I didn't want to do. So this is the dream job. Good money, really stable position, top of the industry, doing exactly what you want to do. To some degree, like, I was building my fame and my brand as a person. Like, everything was going amazingly. I was just about creating things. And I have to say, my production back then compared to now was terrible. But still, it was the most productive period of my career. I was ahead of a lot of people in the industry, pretty much most of them, to be honest, in terms of productivity. And things were going really well. I was a hits machine. More importantly, when I'd been fired for this, because it was my dream job, I didn't think there were going to be other jobs out there. And quite frankly, there was nothing exactly like that. Like, very quickly, in the next couple of weeks, when I put word out there that I'd left, I got offers from 3 or 4 sites, and they were offering exactly the same money or similar benefits, etc. But none of them were as big. None of them had the same, like, exposure level. They would all be a little bit of a reset. The money was there, but for how long? Did they have the same stability? Did they have the same total freedom? They said I did, but I hadn't seen it out. So what I did was, while I was mulling over, like, which one of these options should I take? So I felt like in that paradigm, I had to take one. I said, you know what? While I'm thinking about it, I'll tell everyone I need 3 or 4 weeks. And in the 3 or 4 weeks, I'm not just going to stop. I'm going to keep active. So I'm going to start doing some stuff freelance. I'm going to do a few articles here and there. I'm going to do some stuff on my YouTube here and there when I want to. And we'll see what happens. And in doing so, what I actually basically found was that going freelance was getting me not that far from where I'd been before. I was starting to build up to that level. I was starting to get deals in place where I could be totally freelance, but work with many different people, sell my content to many different people and sites, and build up my own YouTube. And in doing so, what's the need to be for a site? So one of the things I did was, at the time, that year, I'd gone and lived in Korea in the summer for a few months. I'd really enjoyed it. I wanted to go back at some point in time. I had a girlfriend there. So I decided, right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Korea and I'm going to dedicate myself to creating as much esports content as I can. So I flew to Korea. I flew there and arrived on the 5th of December in Seoul, and I had my little apartment where it was just one bedroom place with a bedroom, a kitchen, and then it had a little extra room that was like the toilet and the shower. It was high up in a skyrise, but really central to Seoul, like a really awesome location. It wasn't insanely expensive, like I could definitely afford it on my budget, and it was much more reasonable than a lot of places in a capital city in the West. And what I decided was, this is going to be my dojo. I'm going to go here and I'm going to perfect my craft of esports journalism, and I am going to see how many videos a man can create in a day, and how many pieces of good content you can create, and how many things you can create one after another without the level dropping. And if the level drops, try to find a way to fix that, not just make less things. And so when I did this setup, it might sound like a joke, but that's really the mentality I had. And so I started a streak. It was 3 days after I arrived. So on the 8th of December, I released a video, or maybe it's the 7th of December, one of those. I released a Thorin's Thoughts video. I'd already been doing a few Thorin Thoughts, like, a couple a week or whatever, but I thought, right, let's see if I could really do a Thorin's Thoughts video every day. Or at least I'll try and average every day, because obviously, sometimes scheduling means you release it 1 hour after midnight in your time zone, but is that really going to count for the next day if you do another video? So the idea was it would average one Thorin's Thoughts a video. Now, the crucial thing here is that Thorin's Thoughts were my main kind of video. Sure, I had the occasional reflections, the occasional talk show, but I wasn't inundating as many different series and shows as I have now. So Thorin's Thoughts was the main thing on my video channel, and so logically that was what the streak was going to be about. I didn't include the reflections interviews, but those were so rare, it wasn't as big a deal anyway. Now, for people who are unaware, I actually managed from December 8th onwards to do 57 Thorin's Thoughts videos in a row, without any break, and then my break only came actually due to circumstances I could not control. I was doing these videos even when I was at MLGX Games Aspen, in Aspen, Colorado, flown all the way from Korea there. I was doing them every day and every morning from that event to make sure I got the videos out. That's why there's those famous ones where I'm like lying back on a bed talking about dice, because I'm just wrecked after a day of events, but still wanted to get a video done, still thought I could execute it, still did some half decent work on some of those videos actually. But the problem is, on the way home, my plan was very simple. I had it all planned out. I was going in the morning. It was going to take a certain amount of time to get to Korea. I would have been in Korea in just enough time to do a video and then get it out, and my streak would be maintained. But the problem is, I had massive delays, and the worst travel I ever experienced, because I had massive delays going from Aspen to I think it was maybe to LA. I'm not sure. LA or Vegas, one of the two. I was a couple of hours going to there. Then that was delayed like 3 or 4 hours more. And eventually they changed the flight completely from a direct flight from that place to Seoul, Korea, to, sorry, we're going to have to send you to Japan. I think it was like Nippon or something, to Japan and then to Korea from there. So you're going to actually go past, oh no, I guess you'd be going on the way. So you're going from the West Coast. Now, that in itself was still fine. I thought, right, I'm going to be wrecked. I've added loads more hours, but I'll get there and I'll do it. I had even more problems. When we got to Japan, as we get off the plane, they tell us, oh, sorry, actually, we're late, and so we've missed the flight to Korea. And since the next flight is, in like 12 hours, what we're going to do instead is we're going to put you on a flight in an hour to Guam, because I did not even know what Guam was. I'd vaguely heard of it. I didn't know where it was. I didn't know it was a US like principality or something. So we flew to Guam right away, super knackered after this massive flight. We only had something like 3 hours layover there, at which point in time I even like bought a cheap hotel room and just slept for an hour. Then we got on this flight from Guam to Korea, got back to Korea, and I think at the time I totaled it. And my travel time was something ridiculous, like 30 hours or something. And most of that I'd been awake. I'm not very good at sleeping on planes generally. And so I got home, and unsurprisingly, I just got into my bed and I did one of those insane sleeps where you just sleep like 14 hours. You wake up, you don't know where you are, you don't know what's going on, you don't know what day it is. And then I started up on my Thorin's Thoughts again, but the streak was broken. I'd easily missed like 2 solid days at least here. I started doing them again. And you know what? The average per day, I didn't maintain the streak. The streak died at 57. I did more videos, but the streak was gone. And I have to say, the fact the streak was gone allowed me to let my bullshit get on. Allowed me to be a bit discouraged. Like, no, it wasn't my fault. Oh, bloody, it's not my fault it stopped, is it? Even though I could have taken precautions and had a video and supply the whole time and maybe released that was in the ground, but I hadn't thought ahead in that sense. So I let something else external be an excuse as to why I couldn't do what I wanted to do internally when I could have definitely prepared for it myself. Now, in the years that went by, remember this is early 2015, we're only talking about like the end of January. There have been many years since then. I've done many Thorin's Thoughts. I've probably averaged a solid few a week. I've at times probably gotten up to 1 Thorin's Thoughts per day, but I never had it as a set streak. I never got on one of those rolls again. I did a lot of events in CSGO in 2015. I did quite a few in 2016. I've done less this year, but I might hit as many by the end of the year as I have last year. So I've gotten more time off. I've been able to do more videos, but quite frankly, I've also improved my financial situation, my standing in the industry. I got in a position where I made more. So even though I still did a lot of work and I started a lot of other series, I didn't try another streak in the same way. Or if I did, I'd do it and then I'd have a day where I felt tired, something wasn't going on, and I'd break the streak again. I go, I could do that another time. But I didn't. For years, I never really mounted a true streak in this particular sense and tried to beat that record of 57 videos. So generally, I did videos when I could, or at least that's what I thought. That is what I didn't understand. My idea of when I could is when things were right, when things felt comfortable, when I had enough of something rather than, or I didn't have a deficit of something. That was the way my mind was thinking. So I was thinking, well, you know, as long as I'm not too tired, I'll do a video. If it's not too late at night and I miss my window, I'll do a video. If it's a really good idea, if I've got exactly how I'd want to say on this video idea, then I'll do a video. So I'd end up taking days off now and then. In fact, I'd even justify it and you go, you know what, I've been very hard working in my career. I've done so much work. I'll take a day off. Or you know what, I don't necessarily need the money on this one. I've got great sponsorship coming in. I'll do it another day. I even did that bullshit. Like I'll try and make it higher quality by waiting another day, even though you don't tend to. You just wait until that moment and do it. Just like musicians, when they take 4 years off, they aren't recording that album in those 4 years. What they do is they have 3.5 years off doing God knows what, and then they come back just like they could have if they'd made an album the next year, get studio time, go in, do the album, and do the album anyway. Like, the 4 years maybe have helped their psyche or let them actually have a break or whatever, but it wasn't actually anything to do with the creative process. So I was kind of bullshitting myself that way because we all do it. We all have this like inner narrative as to how we justify it, as to how we tell our ego, ego tells you it's fine that you didn't do that. You're still the best, aren't you? Look, who the fuck else is doing videos every day? Whatever nonsense they tell you. But in 2018, this year, I began to think again about greatness. I thought about the concept of building a legacy and doing something amazing, because greatness is a nice idea. Everyone wants greatness when it's the idea of the big moment, the championship. You do something incredible, you win an award, people give you the acclaim, you get your best ever piece done, you get the most hits ever, you get the most money ever. That's like the spoils of greatness. That's the stuff surrounding greatness. That's like the heat that comes off of greatness, or the light rather that comes from the heat of greatness. Greatness is about the day in and day out. There's that great quote that says something like the natural position of a champion is like, you know, doubled over, sweating to the point of exhaustion, like, you know, absolutely tired. And the idea was, it's the punchline, when nobody's looking. That's the idea. That's what makes you a great player. It's not what you do in the game that everyone sees. It's what you did that prepared you and got you to the next level and honed your craft so that when you play that game, you play at a level no one else can and you do things no one else can and maybe you didn't think you can do. So what I had to change in my mentality is, instead of thinking of the things that would stop me, that's the key thing. What I had to do was, you've heard that saying before, like, let nothing stop you. That sounds great because it sounds awesome. Oh, nothing can stop me. But go the other way and spin it a different way and it becomes a more useful phrase. It goes, what will you let stop you? Not about let nothing stop you. What will you allow to stop you accomplishing what you want to accomplish? Or the thing that you want to do right now that gets you to somewhere where you can do what you want to accomplish? Or the thing that you have to do to make you good enough to one day be in a position to do what you want to accomplish, or to be the person you want to be, or to one day have the ability to even test the waters of something that you think you want to do right now. And if you don't end up finding the thing you want to do the next thing, and to know that you tried that. It's like, there's a great line Ray Lewis said where he said, like, we tried everything for greatness. There's nothing we didn't try to be great, which doesn't mean it all worked. That's the whole point. But he tried everything. So at the end, he could go, you know what? Did everything. I can hang my hat and say, I gave it my all. Whatever results they are, I'll take them. I'll let them stand. All my losses, all my successes, they all count. I don't have to go, what if, or, if only I'd have done more work, or, you know what, now I look back and go, I should have worked harder. No, you did it all. That's the key thing. And so with that mentality, what will you let stop you? I started another streak. And one of the things about this streak was, I wasn't going to let any of the excuses of the past take me over. Working events, being too tired, it's already past the window. That's the thing. So on July 10th of this year, I began another streak. This was just after ESL1 Cologne, when I was coming home back to the Netherlands where I live. And I'll tell you right now, this is not the 58th video or the 59th video. I haven't just broken the streak. I kept it quiet for a while because I was just hitting my stride. This is my 93rd Thorin's Thoughts video on average in the last 93-day span of time. So way more than 57. And by the way, I have no plan to let anything stop me from keeping this streak going. Now, there's a lot of lessons I learned along the way, and obviously they're not all just going to apply to me making videos, so I thought I'd share some of them with you. So first of all, as I said before, it's about what you will let stop you. Because in reality, the only person who can stop you is you. You only get stopped when you decide to stop. But what you'll do is what everyone does. I do it myself. You'll externalize the reasons that make you feel like you got stopped, like you have to stop, like you can't continue. There's a great book I've often recommended called The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield. It's about all these topics. The problem is, I know loads of people have bought it, I've given it as gifts, they read it, they go, what a great book. They put it on a shelf, they never think about it again, and they never apply any of it. I did it myself. I read that book like years and years ago. I didn't apply it myself as much, or I didn't maintain the standard. I did it once, I thought, oh, cool, and then I went back to my old life of being pretty good, sometimes really hardworking in other ways, but not hardworking in this one sense that I wanted to accomplish something I'd never done before. I didn't even know if I could do. How do I know how many videos I can do? What, 60? Even that's fucking hard. 80? Oh, come on, it seems a bit implausible. I'm almost at 100 right now. So the point is, what I had to learn was, it doesn't matter how I feel. How I feel will never stop me doing what I want to do. So if I'm tired, that sucks. You know what? You're going to be tired doing a video. You're still going to do the video though. I might be annoyed. Yeah, great. Well, you know what? Put that out to one side for a moment. Do the video. Do it a little bit annoyed maybe. That's just who you are. It's affecting you. But get the video done nonetheless. A lot of people don't even notice when it comes out. You do a good job anyway. A lot of the videos that you feel tired and annoyed, you do the video and you look back and you go, actually, as long as I structured it right, as long as I had a drink of water before, whatever, yeah, I did okay actually. No one's going to know that. Maybe I was busy. Well, then you know what? You're busy and then you make time out of what would be sleeping time or time you would have had a social life or time you would have had fun. You can get through all of these states. You can get past all of these states. Even if you can't, you can do something with these states. In fact, you can use them as motivation to do something. Oh, I'm so tired. Part of your brain, I shouldn't do a video, man. It's not the time. The other part of your brain, the winner part. Then when I do a video, that's even better because I did it when I was tired. I did it when I should have quit. I did it when I would have quit. I did it when I did quit in the past. Now, the key thing here is I start to think how I'm going to do a video in my condition. Not why I'm not going to do a video. Not why I'm going to quit that day. So, for example, in the past, I would oftentimes have a video prepped or I'd have the concept prepped, but something else went on in my career. I had too many interviews, something ran late, and I think, oh, I've passed my window to release that now. So I could record it for tomorrow, but why not just wait till tomorrow and have some rest? Or you know what? It wouldn't get as many hits if I release it now. Yeah, you know what? That was accurate. Back in the days when I used to do a couple of things a week, and by the way, not even most esports people do a couple of things a week to this day, you want to hit the ideal times and get the maximum amount of traffic and attention exposure. What I learned instead was, that's my bad. Why am I going to make the greatness suffer for what's my bad? So instead, what I'm going to do instead is, life doesn't wait for things to be ideal. I'm not going to wait for things to be ideal. If you sit around and wait for things to come to you, wait for things to be the best they're going to be, you'll have the best sometimes, and sometimes they'll be great, and sometimes they'll be awesome. Sometimes you'll be tired, you'll be annoyed, things won't be going well, you won't be making any money, etc., etc. And what, you're just going to take that as well, are you? You're just not going to do anything at that point. You're going to let life beat you. You're going to let yourself be stopped. You're going to stop you. Nah. So in this scenario, I decided, okay, not doing it on time was a mistake. And then not doing it at all is a bigger mistake. That's a second mistake. So I'm not going to make the second mistake. I'll make the first mistake sometimes. I'm human. But I'm not going to make the second mistake. It's how I respond, how I react to the situation that I'm in, I've been put in, or I've put myself in. How do I get out of that situation? What do I do in response to it? So as a result, I would start doing it. So I would do a video now, and then I'd do a video tomorrow. And it didn't matter what happened, I would do this video and I'd keep this streak going. And sometimes, again, I delayed flights. Sometimes I had to do the video at 9 in the morning and get it out just for the average. Sometimes I had to set an alarm, get up, do a video before I do a long set of interviews just to make sure it gets out. Doesn't matter, I did it. Not all of them were the best videos. I will certainly say I worked very hard to make sure the standard wasn't low, and I don't think there's many that are like forgettable or just throwaway, although obviously some of the event prediction ones don't have that much relevance. Now, generally, they all had a merit to them. That was the other thing. I was never going to cheat it. I was never going to just do filler or just do a bunch of nonsense just to keep the streak going. I also had to find a way to make there be some legitimacy to this topic. This is something I am thinking about, thoughts that I think are meaningful, and thoughts that I think are worth putting out there, hopefully through my craft, that I make interesting or I make have a value, or at least to me they have some kind of value. Then, in terms of concepts, I had to come to this epiphany. You know what, maybe you can't do a deep video right now in the situation it's in, whatever circumstances you find yourself in. But you know what, if you stop and you think through and you think past old ideas and you look at little notes you've made over time, I bet you can find a shorter topic. I bet you can find a 10-minute topic you could do. Come on, when could you not do a 10-minute topic? When could you not just do like 9 minutes and then maybe you think of a cool story, it makes it 11 minutes long? When could you not do these things? It's very easy if you're a content creator to say, well, you know, I've got all these reasons. No, that's the point. I'm trying to find everything. I'm trying to eliminate every excuse and make it so that I'm the one saying to the other part of myself that wants to get out of it, that ain't an excuse. So come on, give me something else. Why wouldn't you do that? This is the reason you should do it. And I'll start doing them. So again, I do a lot of events. Events are the easiest in the world to make you stop doing videos and content. Because you're at an event, you just worked all day, you're tired, you've already had your caffeine, you've already had your food, you need to get up in the morning maybe in 7 hours, in 9 hours. People want to go for a drink, people want to have fun, extracurricular activities. You have to go to your hotel room and say, sorry, I might do something in 3 hours, or you have to do it after you've already had a drink that night, but do not drink too much, or you have to do it and then not get as much sleep the next day because you've used up some of your time. But you're the one who made those choices, and you're making the choice, hopefully, to succeed, so you do it anyway. And so I would do it anyway. That was my mentality at events and has been since. I've been to many events since then. Been traveling on the road many, many times in this 93, let me think, was it 93 or 96? Yeah, 93 video streak. I didn't let anything hold me back. Also, don't ever cheat yourself. That's something I learned. Because the thing is, I used to just do Thorin's Thoughts videos, and that was a massive umbrella that covered every type of video. So what I did was, over the years, I've made more series to categorize them and make it so someone can just find exactly their niche and follow that kind of content in there. So when I made all these series, since some of them would have been a Thorin's Thoughts in the past, I could have easily thought, why make it Thorin's Thoughts every day? Why not make it a Thorin's video every day? And then I thought to myself, okay, that's cool. I do interviews, I do talk shows, I do other types of videos, I do the Patreon things, I do Thorin versus Reddit. But that's not what I set out to do with this streak. That was not the point of doing this streak, was it? This streak was about proving to myself that I could do something that I had done, could do it better, could do it longer, and then do something, if I kept going, that I had never done. Like, you know what, 57, that's pretty cool. It's nothing compared to 70. It's nothing compared to 80. 90, let's get to a fucking 100, then let's start talking, right? And even then, if we can go to 100, why not 150? Why is that not possible, right? So in this scenario, hard work is also misunderstood. Because people hear hard work, and one of the best get-outs people have for hard work is they go, well, so if I just sit and play League of Legends 10 hours a day, I'll become challenger like Faker, will I? No, I won't. That's a great excuse for a loser who's never actually worked hard in terms of legitimately what hard work is, as a get-out to not have to do it. They make it as stupid as possible. They reduce all the elements that are important of the concept of hard work and discipline and dedication. And they make it so trite and silly that you think, yeah, why would I do that? You know, things I'm fine as I am, and maybe I'm just never going to be that good. What I learned about hard work is this. You're only working hard if you apply hard work to every area of the process. So hard work isn't just taking what you could do now, sitting down and just doing it a million times in a row. That's not what I did. I didn't do 93 things in a row the same exact way. Hard work isn't mindlessly doing something, it's the very opposite. It's doing it with purpose. So part of hard work involves improving. In fact, the way I phrase it is I don't say you got to do hard work. What I say is you've got to work hard to get better. If you work hard to get better, that involves working hard at improving, which then has a knock-on effect of making you better at what you're also working hard at and being dedicated at. That's how you become unstoppable. That's when no one can fuck with you. So you know what? I have many people in the esports industry, some of them close friends of mine have known me many years. You'd think they'd know why. They say to me, why do you do so many videos? Like, come on, man, you're doing too much content. You're going to burn yourself out. Why are you doing all that? Now, first of all, I don't burn myself out. I mean, sure, I don't always get enough sleep always. I've had some tough situations. But first of all, I chose to do those events. I could sit at home and do the videos as well and get a decent amount of money and have a nice night's sleep and do the video. So I've chosen that extra responsibility. I'm not going to cheat myself out of the Thorin Thoughts videos just because I did the event and wanted that money as well. Otherwise, that's just like greed on my part. And then it's greed and I'm making myself sacrifice the thing I wanted to accomplish. No. So what I do instead is, when they would ask me why I do so many videos, and in that sort of a setting, I just do some, or have a day off, who cares about keeping a streak going, mate? No one will ever know. Or just say you did anyway, do it in a few days from now, and just fudge one of the numbers, just have a day off in that setting. This is the thing. I know why they say that. Because when they look, they go, who are you competing against? There's no other person doing streak like this. There's no one trying to do your type of videos. There's no one doing exactly the same thoughts in the same way as you. Who are you competing against? And this is something I told some of them who are my friends. I told them, you know what? You're right. There's nobody in second place. There's no one chasing me. I'm not trying to keep a pace of someone. But there is in a way, isn't there? Because it's me. There's who I want to be, and that's who I'm chasing. And the guy I'm trying to outrun is the guy I could have been. The guy who would have given up that day. The guy who would have said, nah, whatever, I'm too tired on this one. The guy who would have said, I am burned out, actually. Instead, what I did is, I say this, mental work is like physical work. Sure, if you overload the mind, just like if you overload the body and you go to a gym, you've never worked out, you work out tons and tons for 4 or 5 hours of massive weight, you'll tear all your muscle up, you'll be fucked up. You might not be able to go back to the gym for weeks and weeks. But if you go and you gradually do it every day with a gradual increase in a purposeful manner, you improve, you work hard at improving, eventually you can go to the gym, do hours and hours of massive weight that would destroy another person, and you don't go back and go, you know what, my body's in worse shape than yours, guy that doesn't work out, because I fucking burned myself out doing all this effort. No, you have the strength now. You've built up the muscle. The same thing's possible with the mind. The same thing's possible with the heart, with endurance, with dedication, with the drive to do something special. You got to build it up like a muscle. And if you don't, and if you let it go away and let it atrophy, even if you were very dedicated, like a guy who did 57 videos 4 years ago, eventually you'll be doing an odd video here and there, and you'll be skipping some, and you'll be on some good money, and you'll take a day off, and you'll chill out, and you'll watch that extra episode of a show rather than do the video now and then consider maybe watching the show or doing your sleep. That's what you'll do. So instead, you've got to be the guy who's chasing yourself. Now, when I was a boy, I had a totally different mentality. I used to think it's really cool to just coast by on talent, be like good, but not the best, because why would I do all that work just for marginal improvement, right? Still be better than most people, still succeed, right? That's success, right? I'm getting a B or an A minus, or I'm ahead of like 90% of the class. That's enough, right? I've beat fucking 90% of these dudes. Who cares about these nerds that are ahead of me, right? I used to kind of think that to some degree, especially because I didn't like to work hard, and so I didn't want to do schoolwork and hard work. I wanted to have fun. I wanted to play games. I wanted to fucking read comics. I wanted to read books. I wanted to write books. I wanted to do all these sorts of things. What's funny now is, I realize looking back, that coasting and being good but not the best, it's nothing if you could have been the best. It's nothing if you could have done more. And let's be real, we could all do more. There's also the factor that people say, is it about the money? Is it to get more money? You've got to have some every day. No, it's not about the money directly. Now, certainly, would I do as many videos if it was for free? I don't think so, probably. Especially not if I had to do a full-time job as well. Nah, I probably wouldn't. But the money's also no joke. That's the point I'm adding in. Now, here's the thing. I grew up very poor. I grew up in a scenario where I didn't get much pocket money, didn't have much opportunity to get jobs, didn't have much opportunity to buy things that I'd want to buy. So after over a decade, literally over a decade, we're talking like 12, 13 years, I was working on basically minimum wage, and I was getting minimum wage, and in fact less than minimum wage when you consider that I was working probably 80 hours a week, double what a normal job is. So when I now have the chance now, I will say one aspect that definitely helps drive me and keeps me on track is I think to myself, remember back in the days, like 2004 or something, when there was no YouTube, and if you did an article on a website, you got paid the same at the end of the month, and there was no way to increase your earnings much except get a better job or hope esports got bigger or your site got better sponsorship. There was no opportunity for you to directly improve your situation and to, sure, you could work very hard, which I did at times, but you couldn't have that feedback of direct success. Well, now we're in a scenario where I have a chance, if I want to do something every day of my life, which I want to do, which is part of building my craft, and I can get paid for it every single day. There's nobody to limit what I can do except me. Now, that's not some small feat. I've limited myself a fucking lot. We all do in our lives. So you know what I did? I found a way to stop limiting myself. Not entirely. I still do in some senses. I still fuck things up. I still say stupid things on social media sometimes. But I stopped limiting myself in terms of these videos, in terms of the streak I wanted to do. Another thing that I learned, and this has been a theme of my whole career, was about strengths and weaknesses. Now, I've done other videos, like the ones where I got to like 200,000 viewers on YouTube or whatever. I've told many stories about my process and how I think, and about the fact that one of the things I did, and one of the things that shows that people who don't know my life story will never understand me, is the thing they see now, the finished product to them, that is someone who's got on-camera presence and charisma, and it's all about video, and like doesn't even do as much writing. That's someone who's radically different from who I started with. Those were my weaknesses that I turned into my strengths. I got better at things I was naturally bad at than people who are naturals doing some of those things. And to the extent that I got good enough that it became so effortless, people think it was my natural strength. They think that's my personality, that I'm some extroverted person, and I just naturally like to do this. I like to talk. I like to make jokes. I mean, these are all things I had to learn. I had to learn public speaking. I had to learn to develop my own version of charisma because I naturally wasn't a charismatic guy. As you can see, it can be quite obnoxious to put people off. So I had to find a way to make that in its own way appealing, or that people were still compelled or interested by or enticed into wanting to listen to what I had to say. I had to learn how to do video content. I was a guy who did written content. I sat away with no deadline doing these super long historical pieces that sometimes would get a lot of hits, sometimes they wouldn't. They'd be hit or miss. I had to learn how to do video, how to do short form video, how to do long form video, how to do talk shows. But more importantly, I had to develop my strengths and my weaknesses in terms of my character. So what I learned was this: don't rely on your strengths. If you rely on your strengths, they'll get you to a certain point, and they'll get you no further because you'll then be limited by the fact that that's where your strengths end. What you rely on is your day-to-day work to shore up your weaknesses. When you shore up your weaknesses and you work day to day and you get them better and better and better and better and better and better, then your strengths take you to an even higher level and you become unstoppable. I've often told this story. I'll tell it very briefly here. Michael Jordan came into the NBA. He wasn't a great shooter. He wasn't a fantastic mid-range player. He was someone who had a great athleticism. He was someone who could beat anyone one-on-one off the drive, and he would go to the basket as much as he could for easy baskets. But because of the way the defenses played him, because his body changed as he got older, because the defensive rules changed over time, he learned to be a master of the mid-range, one of the hardest shots in the game to be consistent at. And he became probably the best ever at like a consistent 2-point, like 12 to 14-foot jump shot. That became his strength, became his greatest, his weakness became his greatest strength through hard work and diligence and working hard at improving. And he became, as a result, probably the best player to ever play this game. Now, you could make other comparisons. GSP and MMA, there's many different players who've been this kind of a guy. So the thing of this is, the core of how I do this is, on one level, it's about doing what you want to do each day. But that's too simple a concept. And again, it's easy for people to take that the wrong way. I don't know what I want to do. Or, I want to do this. And then they do it. I don't enjoy this. I don't actually buy that angle. I know Joseph Campbell said it in a way that was very, very... it was an exciting prospect. It sounded like real wisdom when he said, follow your bliss. Now, I kind of get that because I do get a kind of bliss when I work at my craft, but I don't think it's the actual thing you do as much as the way you do it that's important. Like, is actually creating YouTube videos and written content in itself, is it the most fun thing I could do? No, not even to this day. Not even for work, probably, right? Certain other things are probably easier and a little bit more fun, but the craft of doing that and trying to get better than I am and to do it at a high level and to do it as often as I do, that is the bliss. That is the part of what I'm working hard at and what I'm trying to do every day. You've got to develop a love for your craft and your grind to whatever it is you're applying it to. And hopefully then you find something that you apply it to that you like in time or you grow to like. If you can hang your hat on that, how can anyone stop you? Why would you ever have a problem with self-confidence, with self-esteem? Why would you ever even think about who's better than you? How could they be? Sure, am I the best in esports at what I do? It's irrelevant what I think on that one. Other people can decide. Am I the funniest or the smartest or the best at analysis or historical information or storytelling or whatever? Again, you can decide that. But you know what I'll tell you? I'm the hardest working. Nobody can beat me. Nobody can outlast me. Nobody's going to stop me. I used to have rivals back in the day. I used to have people who were better than me at certain aspects. I used to have people who did content that was better received. They were more popular. I used to have people who got better jobs than me. I don't have any rivals now because I have put 1,000 videos between me and them in terms of productivity. So even if they maybe even did some videos that were better than mine, I bet I've done a solid 500 to 700 videos that were also very good that they didn't do. So they can't fuck with those numbers. So this is the thing. A lot of this was, I mean, it's a little bit scattershot, some of it. I didn't really structure it super well. But you can see, this was a streak that it's not stopped because it's unstoppable. And it's all about not even just like lessons you learn, but it's like how you even come to find out what the problem was that later has not even a permanent solution, but a way to make it not as much of a problem. Or sometimes to make the problem into what drives you to then do something that you actually wanted to address a different problem elsewhere in your life. This video was kindly supported by Andreas, Snazore, Westerlund, Dean Tanglis, Gardner Wilson, Landon Thompson, NateDOhDoubleG, Kyla Harris, Travis Greb, James Harding, Daniel Yordanov, VeXii, Robert Baxter, and a special thanks goes out as always to Jerky's Minion. Do you want to suggest a topic or a guest for my content? Would you like to ask me a question in my monthly AMA? Would you fancy a few teasers for what's coming up in my content? How about taking part in an esports discussion with me? We'll put your money where your mouth is and join the Scrilluminati today at the Patreon link in the description box below.